From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Demo.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Afternoon, Richard 5.
Good afternoon, Ritu 5 as well, Papa Echo November.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free 1-800-610-7035. My email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Michael C. Luckman, and we've had the pleasure of having Michael on a couple of times this month because we're talking about not only his book, Alien Rock, the Rock and Roll Extraterrestrial Connection, but we're also talking about an event that is happening next weekend. It's entitled Contact in the Desert. It's taking place August the 9th through the 11th. And last night we had Giorgio Sulakis on, a great guy. We talked about the event and who was going to be there. We talked about the ancient astronaut theory. We talked about so much. And it's great talking to people like Giorgio and Michael because of one simple word, credibility, and another word, knowledge. Michael, great having you back with us, my friend. Are you getting all revved up for the Contact in the Desert?
Oh, absolutely. Getting all ready for it. This is like the biggest event that I know of in recent time. There could be as many as 1,500 people there in Joshua Tree, California, at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center. And I would say that there are about 40 speakers lined up, many of them prominent, like Jim Mars and George. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. So there's just a fantastic lineup. And very importantly, there's going to be a trip to Giant Rock which is emblematic of the flying saucer movement of the 50s. Mm-hmm. And this is sort of the next stage in the UFO contactee movement.
Now, is Giant Rock, is that where George Adamski had his contact?
No, it's not. But George Adamski was there at Giant Rock. He was one of the stars at Giant Rock.
Right.
At those conventions that they used to have, where people would actually fly in private planes, some of them, to join those proceedings. And so Adamski was there, and George Van Tassel, who invented this machine called the Integratron, which is out in that area, which supposedly, based on instructions given to him by extraterrestrials, is supposed to be a giant machine for rejuvenating people. It's a very large building.
Does it work?
Well, people claim that they've had interesting experiences there. Whether it actually rejuvenates an entire body and for life and does that, I don't really know.
Mike, where does your interest in UFOs and extraterrestrials come from?
Well, it sort of developed slowly. When I was a kid, I was very much affected by The Day the Earth Stood Still, the film, the classic UFO movie, and other similar Earth versus flying saucers. At that time in the 50s, there were a lot of them, and that sort of got me interested originally. And then later, I saw that there was quite a lot of evidence out there that the public generally wasn't that aware of, and I wanted to bring it forward. So I contacted Simon & Schuster, my agent did, and there were discussions about doing a photographic book. In those days, that goes all the way back to the time of the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and we were going to bring forth the photographic evidence. I had a contract. The book was entirely put together and ready to roll, and then I was informed one day by the publisher that they were cutting back on their budget, and that my book was one of the victims. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. He said, read the fine print in your contract, so I did. But Simon & Schuster turned out to be just fine for me later with my Alien Rock book, which Prince William and quite a number of Hollywood
All right,
celebrities
we've got to
read.
take our break, Mike. We'll be back very shortly. Exonation Michael Luckman is my special guest. He's the author of Alien Rock, the Rock and Roll Extraterrestrial Connection. And we're also talking about Contact in the Desert. Next weekend, www.contactinthedesert.net. My name is Rob McConnell. This is The X Zone. Michael Luckman and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away. How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Out in the field, farmers grow bread and called for the meat. They took for the shed. Then dark came to fall. Silence was all. A beauty shone bright, surrounded by light. Come on now. I fell in love with an alien. I fell in love with their eyes. I fell in love with an alien. I'm telling you no disguise. I'm in love with an alien. I'm in love with their eyes. I'm in love with an alien. I'm telling you no disguise. I'm looking up, baby.
Welcome back, everyone. Michael C. Luckman is my special guest, and as I was saying before we went to the break, Michael is the author of Alien Rock, the Rock and Roll Extraterrestrial Connection. And Prince William is among the scores of well-known celebrities who have read Michael's book, Alien Rock, which traces the remarkable relationship between Elvis Presley, John Lennon, David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, and other rock and pop icons with other worldly beings. Among the celebrities who have praised Alien Rock are Bono, Steven Spielberg, Sylvester Stallone, Shirley MacLaine, Ringo Starr, Yoko Ono, Dan Aykroyd, David Lee Roth, Matthew McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, Bianca Jagger, and Angela Bowie. Now, Michael Luckman is currently working on his new title, entitled The End Times, The End Times Bible and Complete Doomsday Survival Catalog.
Yeah.
Wow. And his website is www.cosmicmajority.org. And Michael, always great having you with us. And we're also talking about Contact in the Desert that's happening next weekend, August the 9th through the 11th. And ExoNation, you have to check out their website, www.contactinthedesert.net. Tickets are going fast. I don't know if there's any tickets left, Michael, but I'm sure if they go to the website, they'll get all the information.
Yeah, there are some tickets left, but all of the on-site facilities as far as staying there, you really have to go to a hotel or a motel, because all of those accommodations on site are taken.
Wow. And just listen to these names. You know, this sounds like the guest list of the X Zone. Stephen Greer, David Wilcox, Michael Sala, Richard Dolan, William Henry, David Sereda, Michael Kremel, Michael Tellinger, Roger Lear, William Brown, Travis Walton, Marshall Klarfeld, James Gilliland, and that's just a few of the people that are going to be at this great event.
Yeah, they're all going to be there.
It's going to be fantastic. Georgia is going to be there with the cast and crew of Ancient Aliens. ExoNation, this is going to be the event that's going to set the standard for every other UFO conference, every other contact conference from this day forward. The website, www.contactinthedesert.net. Let's talk a little bit about your book. You know, you sent me an autographed copy way back when. I love it. Some of the stories in there are You know, there seems to be a common thread between all these great superstars. They all believed, or they've had encounters. Did you find that?
You know, Rob, it was. I didn't expect to find as much as I found on this, and what really surprised me more than the fact that that these people had sightings, not only believed in the subject but had sightings, was the fact that there seemed to be a very direct connection between the music and extraterrestrials. And that went right to the fact of when they were writing their songs, they felt that they were getting in contact with extraterrestrial forces. I call them extraterrestrial musical forces in my book. There's a whole chapter on it. And in some cases, music that was being played on stage by a well-known group was not being, there was music being played on stage in addition to what was coming out of the, from the instruments of the performers. There was other mysterious music that was part of the presentation.
In all of your book, which is the story that you find most intriguing, your favorite story?
Well, I guess my favorite one, Elvis comes very close because he had an unbelievable number of sightings and experiences and was very much into this. But the thing that's the most curious story is the one that was told by Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And this had to do with he felt that he had been locked in a spaceship for 2 days. And that he experienced alien presences who he described as insectoid, like tall praying mantis type beings that have been described, as far out as that may sound, have been described by some abductees, not by most of the abductees, but occasionally there are a few here and there who will describe that sort of thing. So he had a kind of harrowing experience, frankly.
What other stories can you share with our audience?
Oh, well, Elvis believed that he himself believed that he was from somewhere else, a blue planet, in another galaxy. He had many sightings, and in one case, the people around him were very concerned because he basically disappeared. He had gone looking at a UFO, and he disappeared. And then they saw not just Elvis, but his bodyguards and people with him, members of the Memphis Mafia, saw the UFO. Now, what was very interesting about Elvis is that at the exact moment when he was born, according to the attending physician and according to Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, there was a strange blue light over the small cabin in Tupelo, Mississippi. And later, Elvis actually and his father and Larry Geller, a very close friend who was his hairstylist, saw UFOs at Graceland.
Wow. What's the story about John Lennon with the UFOs or moon dogs?
Yeah, well, there were two experiences that John had. One, he was with May Peng, whom I've met. In fact, she was at one of my UFO. She helped me open up one of the UFO conferences we had here many years ago in New York. And John and May saw this. Very nuts and bolts type of spacecraft that was close enough that they could hit it with a rock. It was on the roof of the building that they were staying in, and they were both naked, and they went out on the roof to observe this thing, and had lights around the lower edge of it and a red light up on top. And John actually took pictures of it, but unfortunately nothing developed on that film.
Tell us a little bit about your organization, the New York Center for Extraterrestrial Research.
Well, the organization is a small organization. We've been around for about more than 20 years now, And the idea is to work, and we do work with other organizations such as MUFON and other leading organizations all over the place to get the information out. Mainly, what I'm doing here is trying to get the information out both to the public and to the media. And working on the media end of it is a very frustrating deal because the media basically does not want to know this. Now, I was on Bill O'Reilly's show on the Fox News channel many years ago, and Bill actually said he was more open to this than I thought. He said he said that I was the guy that the aliens were going to call. If they called anyone, I'd be the one. So I'm waiting for that call.
Instead of E.T. calling home, E.T.'s going to call Michael.
Well, I think so. Maybe. I don't know, really. We'll see.
Do you think in our time, Mike, we'll see disclosure?
Well, actually, somebody had just asked me that question. Somebody who's been in UFO research for many years who felt that disclosure was imminent. I think disclosure is probably coming soon, but that disclosure will not be something that the government of the United States, which basically is the key to this information coming forward, that they'll do voluntarily. They'll only do it when and if they're forced to do it, and that would be when a landing seems imminent. And then at that point, of course, they will make an announcement.
You know, with the case of the NSA whistleblower Snowden, with all the access he had to the NSA and all the people who have leaked information to the WikiLeaks, how come none of the information has had anything to do with UFOs?
That's a good question. I have no idea what's in there. I might not want to know too much about it, but given what happened to Snowden, but or what's going to happen to him, but who knows? It's very hard to say. I mean, they can't. WikiLeaks can't be everywhere with everything, and I don't really know, but I do know that there are 400 former military people who are whistleblowers. Now, if that hasn't forced open disclosure by now, I don't know what will, unless the government, as I say, has no choice but to do it because UFOs are coming.
Michael Luckman's my guest this hour, Exonation. He's the author of Alien Rock, The Rock and Roll Extraterrestrial Connection. It's a great book. Michael sent me a copy years ago, autographed. And his website is www.cosmicmajority.org. And don't forget, next weekend is Contact in the Desert. Once again, tickets are going fast. Accommodations, well, you can't get any through their website, but you can still go. Please do. It's going to be the event that is setting the standard for every other UFO convention, ET convention from this point on.
I think that's very true.
Yeah. And, of course, it's going to have the who's who of ufology, extraterrestrials, alien abductee. Travis Walton is going to be there. Dr. Roger Lear, who has extricated alien implants from people. Let me see. Jim Mars is going to be there. It's just going to be the who's who. The website to visit is www.contactinthedesert.net. That's www.contactinthedesert.net. Michael, you and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. We will be back. Once again, for more information on Michael Luckman, his website is www.cosmicmajority.org. We'll be back on the other side of the news as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age, Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
I wish I could carry your smile in my heart.
Well, I just got back from Roswell, where the aliens have been. And if you ask the feds the cause, well, they'll only lie again. Now I'm hunted by the gumshoes, and I'm wanted by the cops, 'cause they think that I might be the guy making circles in the crops. And I know that there's a conspiracy from the voices in my head. Elvis lives, that's clear to me. It's McCartney who is dead. And if the Mars men should come again and take me, I will go. I will take a trip on their rocket ship. God bless the UFO. Give JFK this message. It's the Cuban Army's fault. And I know that Dave Koresh is alive inside a vault. We've seen reports in papers of a guy who knows about a car that runs on chewing gum, but the Arabs rubbed him out. And we loudly warn that America is badly unprepared. With the Cold War through, we need something new that can get you good and scared. You wonder just who is warning you of conspiracies today. We're the ones who fill the rumor mill. We are the CIA.
And there you have it. God bless the UFO. My guest this hour is Michael Luckman. And Michael, thanks for joining us. You and I were talking during the commercial and news break about a sighting in California that you wanted to talk about.
Well, last time I was on the show, we were talking a lot about the meteor situation, whether that might or might not be tied to Planet X.
Mm-hmm.
There continues to be meteors that are being seen. The most latest example is this last week, where a fireball, large one, was seen by many people out in California in Orange County. And according to the Los Angeles Times, several communities emptied out into the street to see what was going on. There was a very loud boom caused by this. And, I've expressed my concern that this might be the beginning of what would appear to be an ongoing wave of meteors and asteroids and even comets that are coming our way that could produce disastrous results if there's ever an impact.
Do you think that there is a connection between this increase in comets, meteors, and Planet X?
I absolutely do, and it's not welcome news, but I do believe that. I sent an email to Neil Freer, who was a very close personal friend of Zechariah Sitchin, the author, and I asked Neil. Neil wrote a book, by the way, I highly recommend it, called God Games. It's about what mankind's position should be vis-a-vis the Anunnaki, the beings from Planet X, when and if, assuming they exist, when and if they land. And basically, he said that they owe us, because of the fact that we were used to dig for, as slaves, essentially, to dig for gold that they needed for their planet to line the atmosphere. Neil, I asked Neil point blank, and he said that he couldn't prove it, but he said it sure as hell looks that way.
That's a little hard to understand. If these Anunnaki can travel all that distance to this planet, why would they have to use humans as slaves instead of having the technology to mine the gold without having to use anyone?
I'm not an expert on mining gold in terms of extracting gold and what's, how that can be done.
Yeah.
A friend of mine brought up the very same, it's a very important, interesting question. In fact, I got to ask Giorgio is one of the people I want to ask about this, what his take on it is. It's a very important question.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer to it is.
Giorgio is going to be at the Contact in the Desert next weekend, August 9th through 11th. Tickets are still available. www.contactinthedesert.net. Michael Luckman's website, Exonation, is cosmicmajority.org. We talked about alien abductions, and of course Travis Walton, who is one of the most famous alien abduction cases ever to be recorded and is known worldwide, is going to be at the Contact in the Desert.
Yes.
What is your take on alien abductions, Michael? Why are people being abducted?
Well, that's a very important question, too. I'm not sure what the answer is. David Jacobs, who has written about this extensively from Temple University, he thinks it's part of a long-range program where there's a hybridization program where human-alien hybrids are being made by the extraterrestrials. I do know that many of the, or at least some of the abductees have reported being shown by their captors the immediate future of life here on Earth, and that it shows all sorts of terrible devastation going on, almost like looking at a short video or something. Wow. There's when it comes to the abduction thing, I mean, there were polls that were done that have indicated that the number of people across the world, a huge number of people have had abduction experiences. It's in the millions.
Years ago, when Tesla was experimenting with his free energy, there was an explosion over Tunguska in Russia.
Yes.
There are those who believe it had something to do with Tesla's experimentation. There are those who believe it was an an atmospheric explosion of a meteorite or a comet, and there are those who believe it was the impact of a UFO. What's your take on Tunguska, Mike?
My take on Tunguska, and of course we just had that not so long ago, just a few months ago, that terrible incident that happened over an area in Russia where there was a giant meteor, very, very powerful, unbelievably powerful, like as powerful as 30 Hiroshima bombs, I'm told, that impacted over Russia. I think that, in fact, and I've been hearing that scientists really believe that the Tunguska incident was as a result of a meteor. But since you mentioned Tesla, and of course it leveled a very large area, so it shows what it can do. Since you mentioned Tesla, though, I'm really a big Tesla fan. Tesla felt that he was, with all these inventions that he came up with, he felt that he was in touch with an extraterrestrial force or beings of some kind. I don't think he ever saw the beings, but he felt that, and that was his gut on it. And he said that these unbelievable inventions that he came up with that revolutionized the world, that he would see pictures of what the equipment actually looked like, what the machinery looked like, before he would go and create it. So he also thought that he might have that he picked up signals that might have come from Mars.
Was he actually targeted by the governments of the world for knowing too much or for wanting to give too much away?
Well, the terrible thing that happened to Tesla was that J.P. Morgan, the banker, took away his financing. They tore down the tower in Shoreham, Long Island, which was going to be a world communications, wireless world communications tower. In fact, we're using that as the logo. If you go to cosmicmajority.org, my website, you'll see that we've adopted that as the logo for the Cosmic Majority. He was just amazing for his time. I mean, we're talking about 100 years ago that he did all these things.
Whatever happened to him?
He died a natural death in a hotel here in New York City. But when he died, a lot of his research was confiscated. I mean, some of it still exists, and they're opening up a museum on Long Island. But definitely, agents came in and took, I guess, most of the material that he had stored in the hotel.
You know, speaking about your website, on the front page of your website, it says, "Prepare, don't panic. Our goals, the survival of mind, body, and spirit in these extremely challenging times, establishing peaceful contact with an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, preparing to reach the next level in human evolution." What do you believe, or what do you see as the next step in human evolution?
It's really Rob, it's really anyone's guess. I mean, I would say that we're going to go much more into a psychic communication, telepathic communication with one another. That's one of the things that's going to happen. I think we're going to be more, the people who survive all of this, hopefully will be raised to a more spiritual level, and therefore a lot of the problems that we've had to endure hopefully will not be problems that will be continuing. Hopefully the wars will come to an end. Those are some of the areas that I think will come into play.
Do you think that the last days, as mentioned in the Bible, the apocalypse, are all part of what we're seeing now, Michael?
Well, I absolutely do. You know, I'm not particularly religious, but it's stunning to see comparisons. I mean, not only do we have plagues and all kinds of extreme weather events happening all over the world, and not just isolated events, but events that are happening on a daily basis. But you know, this thing, you see, there are things. For example, there's a pure red heifer is referred to in the Bible, in the Old Testament, regarding King Solomon's temple, and that at a time like this, at the crossroads, that basically it's a cow, a pure red heifer would be born. Well, a number of these extremely rare red heifers have been born. The Indians talk about a great white buffalo, also extremely rare, and that it would happen at a time like this. And there have been quite a few births, not a lot, but you know, I would say just a handful, but that have occurred of buffalo. We've got plagues. We've got. There's even an Antichrist figure, if you want to believe that he exists, which is this Maitreya character that's being promoted by Benjamin Creme out of London. So there are, you know, I mean, the Bible talks about the rivers running, red with blood. Well, it's not blood, but rivers have turned red. It just goes on and on.
You know, and then, Michael, you've also got the third secret of Fatima, which apparently talks about apocalyptic floods due from an object of space.
It absolutely does, and that's something that I can't understand why. I mean, well, we've been trying to get the word out. I mean, it's the Vatican's most carefully guarded secret, but it's leaked out, and it has to do with a giant object coming toward us and causing flood not seen since the time of Noah.
So by all means and by all indications, these are the end times.
Well, you know, I'm afraid that, I mean, it's not good news, but I'm afraid that that's essentially what it is. And I really think that the real question is, how much quality time do we have left? Now, I read a very disturbing report by scientists that was recently issued regarding New York City, you know, the largest city, most important city in many ways in the world. And New York City, they say, has maybe a few years left before it could be completely destroyed by flooding and by excessive heat. And we went through about a week ago, like about at least 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, of near 100-degree weather and high humidity. Very
it was awful, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that we are living that, and how many quality years we have is the real question. I don't know, but I do know that people are better off if they prepare to the degree that they're in a position to, because I understand that finances come into this, so where they're going to live and how they're going to live and what they're going to do. But I would, I think that people really need to look at their. I'm not telling people to run out and spend all of their money, but they really should spend a significant amount of money on survival supplies of food. Water is going to be
Right.
terribly important.
Michael, stand by. You and I have to take our break. We'll be back on the other side. Michael Luckman is my guest. More with Michael when we come back from this commercial break. Don't go away now.
What if someone told you you could live to be 120? Would you believe him? What if he told you the Bible guaranteed it? All you needed to do was follow his rules and buy his products. Would you do it? What if you invested 20 years of your life in him? What if he tested his substances on your child? What if your child became brain damaged as a result? Meet Dr. Tyler Belknap, a fast-talking Texas admin turned health guru. At the helm of a vast health food and supplement empire, he has established himself as the authority on nutrition and longevity. But what his followers don't know is that his products are laced with bizarre psychoactive substances from genetically modified plants developed in his very own secret lab. No wonder his customers can't stop using them. Tyler Belknap will stop at nothing to keep his edge in the market, even if it means experimenting on children. Chasing 120, a story of food, faith, fraud, and the pursuit of longevity, a novel from the pen of political cartoonist Monty Wolverton, is an easy and entertaining read full of rich characters and intrigue. It hits home in a world filled with all kind of hucksterism and offers a glimpse of what can happen when GMO technology falls into the wrong hands. Chasing 120 by Monty Wolverton. Get your copy today at www.ptm.org/120 or on Amazon.com.
Nita Hickok is an expert in exorcisms, psychic warfare, soul healing, angelology, soul retrieval, demonology, energy healing, long-distance healing, astral healing, and much more. Nita is an interfaith minister because she believes all gods and goddesses are valid and that they are part of one divine force that is incomprehensible to us who are incarnated upon this earth. Nita has been doing astral healing, distant healing, spirit release, exorcism, house cleansing and blessings, soul restoring and revival, psychic vampire removal and curse removal, and much more for over 40 years. For more information or to contact Nita Hickok, visit her website at www.astralhealer.com. That's www.astralhealer.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
It's a sign of the times that your love for me so much stronger. It's a sign of the times, and I know that I won't have to wait much longer. You've changed a lot somehow from the one I used to know. For when you hold me now, you feel like you never want to let me go. It's a sign of the times.
Exonation, Michael Luckman is my special guest, and Michael and I have been talking over the past couple of weeks about an event that is happening next weekend. It's called Contact in the Desert. It's going to be August the 9th through the 11th. They have a fantastic website, www.contactinthedesert.net. Go check it out. If you can make it, please do. The who's who of ufology, alien abductions, everything that we talk about here on the X Zone, they will be there. And it's hosted by George Norrie, is one of the hosts over there from Coast to Coast. Once again, their website is www.contactinthedesert.net. Michael, always great talking to you, my friend. You and I were talking on the during the break about what would happen if there was an object from space heading directly for us. If there were any and I asked you if there were any plans in place, and you said no.
Well, unfortunately, the answer is that there aren't any plans in place. NASA tracks these objects, but many of these objects, more of them than not, they're not aware of until the last minute, until it would really be too late. So yeah, but there are plans afoot to create means of stopping an object, but certainly not by shooting it down. Let's say with a missile, because it would splinter into too many separate pieces coming at us.
Right.
But rather what has to be done is it needs to be nudged out of its orbit, which is not easily accomplished.
Let me ask you this, Michael. If Earth was in imminent danger, all right, is it possible that people from another planet or who have been visiting us here would try to help us, would try to push the other craft away, or the other missile away, or the other comet away?
Yeah, I don't know what technology they have.
Mm-hmm.
We know that whoever they are, whether they're the Anunnaki or some other species, that they're highly advanced, perhaps 100,000 times, according to scientists, maybe even up to 1 million times more intelligent than us.
Right.
So they might have figured it out. And I think that if they have figured it out, that they would intervene if it was possible to do. But, evacuating people from Earth, I don't know how that's going to be accomplished. I just can't. I can't see that.
Michael, you and I have got to say so long for tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to when you come back in a couple of weeks and tell us all about the great things that happened over at the Contact in the Desert.
Sure, absolutely. Been delighted to.
All right, Michael, you take care of yourself, my friend.
Thank you.
Good night now. X-Zone Nation, Michael Luckman has been my guest this hour. His website is www.cosmicmajority.org. That's www.cosmicmajority.org. And we've been talking about Contact in the Desert. Next weekend, August 9th through 11th, the who's who of ufology, alien abductions, and much more will be there. Everything that we talk about here on the X-Zone. www.contactinthedesert.net. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X-Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away.